What's up, everybody? Hey, it's Mike Whitmer with the Expansion Real Estate Group. Happy Friday to you. Welcome to this month's edition of the Monthly Market Update. Hope you guys are doing amazing. And a couple quick things before we jump into the stats today. One, this is just kind of funny. Like, I've been here for 25 years, and I still find it amazing how that Arizona goes from blazing hot summer to freezing cold mornings like over a weekend every time. It was 35 degrees the other morning. So super grateful for that, by the way. I was tired of that heat. And then secondly, we made it through the election, right? Whether your person won or didn't win, it is what it is. We got through it. And there's a couple things that I know. One, we are way too divided as a country, and that's just a terrible thing. And I hope we can do something to bring it together. And then two, regardless of who won, we are still responsible for our own lives. Every one of us had to wake up the next morning and go to work and do what we got to do and take care of our families and move forward, right? So I hope you guys can do that too, and we can just keep on fighting the good fight and do what we can do. All right, appreciate you guys. Let's jump into the stats here and see what this Arizona market is doing. Well, as you can kind of see here from our trusty Cromford Market Index chart, we have just kind of continued on this steady fall. We ended off last month at 95, or we started last month at 95 on the Cromford, and we ended off down at 90.3. So we had a 4.7 point drop, which has been pretty darn consistent with that. Again, looking at that on the daily chart over time, again, just since August, it's really just been, that's so consistent. It kind of varies throughout the week because listings come up and down throughout the week. But yeah, just all the way down. And then today we are sitting at 89.1, which is pretty substantial, right? Because I know we talked about 100 being the threshold, above 100's technically a seller's market, below 100 is technically a buyer's market. But he does say that the range between 90 and 110 is basically a balanced market, right? It's not super advantageous for either one of them. Now we're below 90. That's really truly a buyer's market. So I want to talk a couple things about, why is that happening? And one of the biggest thing again for that chart number is supply. Last month we sat at 15,781 active single family home listings, and then today we're sitting at 16,681. So that's up 900, which is 5.7% increase. And I didn't look at the exact number, but we're somewhere around 35 to 37% up from the beginning of the year. So that supply index number is the highest it's been since May of 2014. So the highest it's been in a decade, which is pretty incredible. We did have a little peak over here, which I think is kind of interesting. If you guys remember, this was in 2022. We shot up real quick. But why that happened, that's when all the iBuyers, remember the iBuyers, Zillow, OfferPad, Opendoor, that's when all those companies panicked and they sold all their supply because the rates are going up and the market was kind of really risky. So that's what that was. This big jump up here was all iBuyers. And if you look without that, it's really been just a constant. Besides that little tweet, that little peak there with the iBuyers, it's been pretty consistent supply up. And then one kind of odd thing is last month, or the last 2 months, demand has increased. So supply has outpaced demand. So supply is going up, or supply index is going up faster than the demand index is going up. So it did go up though for 2 months in a row. And this is a really kind of interesting point I can make here. Remember what happened at the end of August and early September? The rates fell down to 6%. And the buyers came out of the woodwork. And this is actually really unusual right here. From September to October to November, if you look back through this chart, I won't do it to take too much time, but that is almost always a decline in demand because we get into the winter and the holidays. Every year over year, that tends to decrease. But this time right now, it actually shot up. And that's literally because the interest rates were down around 6%. And now, unfortunately, the economic news has been good and they've actually been rising again. So they're just up over 7% again. And so I think we'll probably, next month, we'll probably see that kind of peak or flatten out. Another kind of a good way to kind of show that rates have such a big difference, our closed resale transactions are up 14.4% year over year, which is one thing, but it's up 12.2% from last month, right? From September to October. In October, had 12.2% more closed resale home sales than September. And if you think about timing wise, when those rates dropped down in the end of August or September, that's when the buyers came out, right, and got pre-qualified. But remember that process takes, at the littlest, usually about 30 days, but usually 30 to 60 days. So from early August until the end of October is about 60 days. And we saw a really high increase in those sales. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. Good news. Yesterday, the Feds did cut the rate again. They cut it by 0.25%. And remember last month I talked about the Treasury and stuff, but so it's not a direct correlation to the interest rate, but it does affect it, right? So hopefully they cut yesterday. I think they're gonna cut one more time in December. So as we come into the new year and hopefully this election stuff's behind us and we kind of move forward, we'll start to see those rates drop a little bit. Can't promise it, but that's what we're hoping for to kind of keep this market, get this market to pick up. And then the last thing I want to show you guys here, I also talked a little bit last month about how people are struggling, right? People are broke. People are living paycheck to paycheck. They're really struggling. And last month, we had 416 foreclosure notices posted to houses, right? And that's the highest it's been since February of 2020. So in the past 4 years, that's actually almost 5 years now, that's the highest it's been. And we actually had 55 foreclosure sales at the auction, which also was the highest since February of 2020. And you look at this chart here, this is pending foreclosures. And so again, you can kind of see all year long, we have been kind of creeping up. People are struggling. They're starting to lose their homes, especially if people bought in the last couple of years. They know that there's not a ton of equity. So we're seeing that happen. But here is where the media might confuse you or trick you, or if you see some doomsday people talking. Here's 2024, okay? We have just over 1,100 pending foreclosure sales. Watch when I click this button here. 2009, the peak of the foreclosure crisis. 51,000 homes were in foreclosure. We have 1,100 right now. There was 51,000 in 2009. So yes, they are creeping up based upon, if I look at this line here, just flat, right? Just completely flat. If I remove this check mark, then you can see it's going up for the year. But don't listen to everybody as far as the sky's not falling, but people are struggling. People are falling behind. People are in huge credit card debt. They can't maintain. So it is a real problem. Will it get to 51,000 home foreclosures? No, I don't think so. But something you need to watch out for. And again, if you're struggling, if you know somebody that's struggling, we do have options and would love to help with that too. So let me make this big here again. So it is November, the middle of November, which is hard to believe. Thanksgiving's right around the corner, and then it's Christmas and New Year's, so people kind of go into that mode. But I wish you guys a wonderful Thanksgiving, and going back to the election stuff, like no matter who in your family is, which side or the other, what matters is family, right? Love them, be present, enjoy your holidays, smile, give me a hug, and enjoy yourself. And I will see you guys next month. See ya.